Well, hello there, I'm Détroit. We are taking to Photoshop today for a good old school drawing prompt. It's one of my favorite things to do, taking two words that have no relation between each other and drawing the combination of them. It's such a good way to get a nice prompt. I've done Queen Bird, I've done Shrimp Woman, Robot Samurai, Fish with a Face, Zombie Paltry, and many more. And more to come in the future too, so subscribe. Today we're using a two-word prompt again that came to me a few days ago. It's Octopus building. That's it. That's my whole concept. Drawing a building that is an octopus, or the other way around. While I get to it, let's talk about the technical aspect of this drawing that in total took me a bit more than an hour. I think what sells this artwork, what makes it feel right, is the perspective. I needed a perspective grid and I used the best shortcut for that. I traced a horizon line across the canvas and then I used the polygon tool. You can make the polygon tool into a star and choose the number of points. By putting 100 points on this star and extending it from a point on the horizon line, you have your perspective point. A second one later and you have a perspective grid. I could have used a third one, but honestly 2 points instead of 3 is easier to draw with and it doesn't change that much since the octopus building is far away anyway. So we have a perspective grid. After that, it's just sketching away. On a layer, I doodled the basic shape of an octopus with tentacles going all over the place, left, right, up and down. On top of that, on another layer, I followed the path of the tentacles but with straight lines along the perspective grid. And I did that over and over and over again. After that, I filled the rest of the page with more and more buildings. Of course, I couldn't do that for the top of the picture, so I used a shorthand and made the buildings bigger and less defined. I'll talk about all that a bit later. For now, as the past me drawing is very busy sketching this endless maze of buildings, I want to talk about something else. I will be taking some time off. Well, more or less. I'll be taking time off from YouTube, but it's actually in order to work even more. Before I explain further, know that I'm not quitting YouTube or drawing. It's just that I can't manage one video per week at the moment. So since I won't necessarily be regular in my uploads, let's say I'm on holidays, right? The truth is that while I absolutely love drawing and I wish to make it my job as soon as I can, I actually have a proper occupation that pays me. I've said it time and time again, but if you have never watched my content before, I'm a PhD student in physics. I have been doing my PhD for most of the life of this YouTube channel. I started YouTube at the end of my engineering school and continuing during the entire length of my PhD. Because it's been 2.5 years since I started my PhD, I'm now on the final stretch. In about 2 months, I will have to finish my thesis, my manuscript, and 2 months later, I will give my defense, and if all goes well, be awarded the title of Doctor in Condensed Matter Physics. It's not that big of a deal, just the highest academic qualification that is internationally recognized. Sorry, I'm bragging. But it is a big deal, and the culmination of 26 years of my life. My manuscript is far from being done. I would say I'm about 30% done. And I have 2 very short months to write 80 more pages and make figures and explanations as to the physics I'm studying. Recently, for the past 2 weeks, I've been writing my thesis from basically 7 AM to 8 PM, all the while continuing my experimental work. I have no time to prepare videos. I keep drawing here and there, but I can't take time to write my scripts, edit the videos, upload them, etc. Once I feel better about the deadline for my manuscript, I'll hopefully go back to uploading regularly. But for now, I need to focus on work. I'm stressed, but I'm not too worried about it though, so don't worry for me. And that is all I wanted to say. This is why I made this comfortable drawing that was fun to make, intricate but not too complicated as far as the process goes. I gotta catch up to the process, so here we go. After the sketching of all the buildings, which I separated onto one layer for the tentacles, one layer for the massive central building, one for the other buildings, and a final layer for the background. After all that, I quickly added a bit of color. That was to figure out what sort of color scheme I was gonna go for, as well as to ensure I didn't forget which building was tentacle or not. After that, I hid the colored layers away and I moved on to inking. I debated a bit whether the drawing looked better with sketching or inking, and to be honest, I still haven't fully decided, so I will show both at the end. For the inking, I just traced lines loosely. I don't really care if the lines are really straight or just about. When zoomed out, it makes no difference. The inking simply looks cleaner than the sketch. Also, inking involves closing areas into specific shapes that I can then use to select with the magic wand tool and color the whole drawing in less than 5 minutes instead of having to follow along the thousands of buildings individually. Again, this drawing is not a complicated one. It's only an expression of my hand itching to draw something for the past 2 weeks. For the coloring, every part of the drawing had 3 variations. The top of every building is lighter, and the left side is darker. The right is in between. That is for the random buildings, but also for the octopus. The octopus is just red instead of sand color. For the background, since the buildings were much less defined, I made them darker and desaturated, which is a good way to draw focus away from something. After that, I fudged around with the curves without changing much of anything, and then I decided to add some texture by using my big softy brush I use for digital paintings. I also added gradients everywhere to emphasize that the left side is darker than the right. And that's pretty much it. I don't have much to say about this drawing. It was fun to draw and that's it. I like it. I mostly wanted to tell you that my uploading schedule would become messy for a while. Like the video if you found the drawing cool and tell me in the comments what I should draw when I get back to drawing. Subscribe because why not, and check out my Twitter and Instagram in the description. I'm Detroit and I'm a future doctor in physics. Bye!